So, from the survey of approaches and methods presented in this book, that means in this course, we have seen a variety of methods and approaches. The commonest solution to the language teaching problem was seen to lie in the adaptation of new teaching approaches. So whenever we will be talking English language teaching, then we will be talking new approach and new method. And we say that this method is better than the previous one. Okay, that is the history. And always the inception of a new method or our approach will usher some benefits and some challenges. Kishu kishu bhalo kotha bolbe ebong kishu kishu. And in this, in 1950s, the audiolingual method was taught to provide a way forward, incorporating the latest insight from the science and linguistics. Audiolingualism. After grammar translation method, we have got audiolingualism. And audiolingualism, grammar translation had some problems. What are the problems? That is, grammar and translation will be there. Speaking and listening were not involved in grammar translation method. And then audiolingualism came in existence. And audiolingualism tried to focus on speaking and listening, okay, incorporating the all aspects of our English language or a second language teaching. So that came in existence. While this had declined substantially by the 1990 decades. Okay, so audiolingualism, direct method, all methods, they started their journey after 1950 decades, and then people and the learners and the teachers, scholars, they started following these approaches and methods, but they were in decline. Okay, and decline. So far as we have seen that these are the approaches we have consulted, that we have said that communicative language teachings and others, cooperative language learning. And apart from that, and we have talked about some methods that we have said, that is audiolingualism, counseling learning, situational language teaching, the silent way, suggestipedia. These are the methods. Okay, compared to approaches and method tend to have a relatively short shelf life. Okay, whenever audiolingualism came, then everybody rushed towards audiolingualism. They put grammar translation method aside, that it is the old method, we have kept it early inside, and we will be following audiolingualism. Then after some period, people were bored about audiolingualism, and they have got another method, that is direct method. Okay, then, and in this regard, the method came with a revolution, but that method lived for a short period because people found some problems in this method. It is for audiolingualism and also for direct methods and all other methods applied for second language learning. And for this reason, we can say that approaches and methods are short-lived, because second language learner or the foreign language learner might be more enthusiastic. They want to have pass and pass solution in it. তারা খুব তাড়াতাড়ি রেজাল্ট চায়, এই জন্য অ্যাপ্রোচ এবং মেথডের যে টাইম স্পেন্ডটা, এটা ধরা হচ্ছে যে খুব শর্ট, কিছু সময়ের মধ্যেই মানুষ একটা মেথড থেকে আরেকটা মেথডে চলে যাচ্ছে। শর্ট সেলফ লাইফ, বিকজ দে আর অফেন লিঙ্কড টু ভেরি স্পেসিফিক ক্লেমস to prescribed practices. Okay, audiolingualism, that is the habit formation. Direct method, no first language will be used in the classroom. Okay, so they are based on principles. That principles are very meager, অনেক অল্প প্রিন্সিপালের উপরে নির্ভর করে এই মেথডগুলো, এই জন্য হয়তো তারা বেশি পরিমাণে অ্যাপিল তৈরি করতে পারে না। কোনগুলো? অডিওলিঙ্গুয়ালিজম বলেন আর ডিরেক্ট মেথড বলেন। ওকে, and they tend to fall out of favor of these practices because unfashionable and discredited. For this reason, this method became unfashionable. However, methods offer some advantages over a process, and this doubtless explains their appeal because of the general nature of approaches. There is open to clear application of their assumption and principles in the classroom. As we have seen with the number of the approaches described in these books, much is left to the individual teacher's interpretation skill and expert. Actually, the success of an approach, the success of a method depends on the expertise, skill of the teacher. Okay, how he will be delivering, how he will be presenting the norms and the principles of a specific method. If a method, audiolingualism, can be applied by a very expert teachers, audiolingualism can be the best method for the students, for the specific students, because that would be dependent on the expertise of the teachers. Okay, and consequently there is often no clear right or wrong way of teaching according to the approach. There is no what would be the best effort. So in case of listening and speaking, dialogue, conversation, group discussion, okay, but what is new? That would be dependent on the teachers, how teachers can employ all the learners in the active participation of the class. If it is so, then the class learning or the second language learning will be effective. That is the core point. Okay. Methods, on the other hand, solve many of the problems beginning teachers have to struggle with because of many of the basic decisions about what to teach and how to teach. In case of method, learners' roles are there, teachers' roles are there, objectives are there, okay, syllabus is there, okay, instruction materials will be there. So apart from the approach, method can be more focused. What a learner should do, what a teacher should do. In such a way, method and approach go forward, okay, following some rules and principles. Method can also be seen as a resource of activities, some of which can be adapted regardless of one's own ideology. Okay, that means how you will be accommodating. It depends on academic culture. It depends on teachers' expertise. Okay, in many cultures, students feel shy. They do not take part in class participation. So how to be doing at that CLT, that means communicative language teaching, or the audiolingualism, or the direct method. And that is like PPP, prescription of present, practice and produce. Present, practice and produce. A method offers to novice teachers the assurance of a detailed set of the sequential steps to follow in the classrooms. So in such a way, a method goes forward. Okay, so after getting so many approaches and method, এতগুলো method এবং approach নিয়ে কথা বলার পরে এখন পোস্ট মেথড এরাই মানুষের মনে মানে কি, ভাষা যারা শিখবে এবং যারা শেখাবে তাদের মনে কিছু প্রশ্ন আসে, and that is the characteristics of post method era. Post method era learners and the teachers will be asking the following questions. What are the question? What advantage does a new approach or method offer? What is the advantage? What is new? That is GTM, grammar translation method. We have got audiolingual. What is new? Direct method. What is new? Okay. Total physical response. What is new? Is it perceived to be more effective than current practices? Is it? So in the post method era, the question will come from the learners and the teachers. How compatible is it with teachers' existing beliefs? Yeah. Naturally, many persons will feel shy to looking towards your eye. Okay, what is your name? So eye contact express your confidence. But in many cultures, they feel shy. They will not looking each other's eyes at the time of speaking. চোখে চোখ রেখে কথা বলতে শরম পায়, আমার কথা ভয় পায়, ঠিক আছে? তার মানে how it is compatible, how in the post method era learners and the teachers will be asking the how is it compatible to the existing beliefs of the teachers and the learners. Okay, and in is the new approach or method very complicated or difficult to understand? Is it difficult? Has it been tested out in some school or classroom? Research. Okay. আপনি কথা বলে দিলেন যে হ্যাঁ মানুষ শুনে শেখে, তাহলে লিসেনারদের যত শোনাবো তত তারা শিখবে, ঠিক আছে? কিন্তু এটা তো আপনাকে কি করতে হবে? ক্লাসরুমে টেস্ট করতে হবে, আর ক্লাসরুমে টেস্ট করা মানে হলো সেটা হলো research. So in post method era, research will ask, okay, you can't tell a general or generative information, common information. সবাই জানে যে মানুষ শুনে শেখে, তাহলে বিবিসি শোনেন, ঘন্টার পর ঘন্টা শোনেন, ক্লাসরুম করার দরকার নেই। এই জন্য ইন পোস্ট মেথড এরা দে উইল আস্ক দ্য কোয়েশ্চেন, হোয়াট ইউ আর টেলিং, হ্যাজ ইট বিন টেস্টেড উইথ দ্য ডেটা? তাহলে লিসেনিং যদি শোনানো হয়, তাহলে আপনি মনে করেন 20 জন স্টুডেন্ট নিয়েছেন, 20 জন স্টুডেন্টকে হচ্ছে আপনি বললেন যে প্রতিদিন আমরা ইংরেজি মুভি দেখব হচ্ছে 5টা করে, 15 ঘন্টা, ঠিক আছে? এইরকমভাবে 1 মাস 15 ঘন্টা করে মুভি লিসেনিং করার পরে 1 মাস পরের তাদের যে রেজাল্ট কি হয়, এই রেজাল্টটা যখন আপনি নিয়ে আসবেন, তখন সেটা হলো কি, এটা রিসার্চ ডেটা, আপনি গবেষণা করেছেন 20 জন শিক্ষার্থীদের। So in the post method era, they will be asking the question whether this method or approach has been researched well, okay, and tested. How have the benefits of the new approach or method been clearly communicated to teachers and institution? Communicated in many institutions are there in a country. At present in Bangladesh, there are 5 categories of English language or schools, okay? English medium, English version, national curriculum, technical school, madrasa education. So many kinds are there, okay? So when you will apply a method in a country, has it been communicated to all categories of the institution and the teachers? Okay, so this question will ask in the post method era. So in the post method era, the learners and the teachers are not happy with the generic idea, the general information. They will ask questions regarding research and the application, the benefits of a certain method and an approach. And practicality is the key issue. Practicality, PPP, practicality. A methodology that can readily be turned into teaching materials and textbook whose use require no special training will generally be more readily adopted than one lacking these features. The support knowledge available in promoting or explaining a new teaching approach or method also crucial. How a ministry or department of the education, key educational administrators, leading academics, professional bodies, organization can play an important role in promoting a new approach or method. So not only the students and teachers, students, academic curriculum, okay, government policy, education policy, institutions policy, leading academics, okay. So all the views of all the concerned are important in post method era. That is called practicality or contextualization, practicality. And yet notion of the method came under the criticism in the 1990 decades for other reasons. A number of limitations implicit in the notion of all-purpose methods are raised. By the end of the 20th century, mainstream language teaching no longer regarded method as the key factor in accounting for success or failure in language teaching. Some spoke. That means in 1990 decades, learners and teachers, academics, institutions, they are not happy with the existing methods and approaches of second language or English language teaching. And some are very crucial. They say some spoke of the death of methods and approaches. Okay? So post method era can also be called the deaths of methods and approaches. All dead. So some spoke to the death of methods and approaches, and the term post-method era was sometime used. And what are the major criticism made approaches and methods? So it means that in post-method era, the methods and the approach, they are not in use. They may be dead. So in this period era, we have seen that is the top-down criticism. Keno egulo mrityu ghotlo? Okay. While approaches tend to follow the varying interpretation in practice, methods typically prescribe the teachers and what and how to teach. Teachers have to accept on faith or claims on the theory underlying the method and apply them to their own practices. Good teaching is regarded as correct use of the method, and it prescribes principles and techniques, roles of teachers and learners, as well as type of activities and teaching techniques to be used in the classroom are generally prescribed. The role of teachers is marginalized. Okay. Actually, in case of every method and approaches, the teacher's role is prescribed, and this prescription also marginalizes their activities. They will not follow their own creativity. Okay. If a method, if you follow audiolingualism, teachers supposed to do this. Okay. Learners supposed to do this. So all are marginalized. And absent from the traditional view of method is a concept of learner-centeredness and teachers' creativity. An acknowledgement that learners bring different learning styles and preference to the learning processes. Okay. So one of the criticism against method and approaches is that the method and approach will cut the creativity and freedom of a teacher and learner. Okay. That you can also call that learner autonomy. Learner autonomy means every learner will not learn same things in the same way, and many crucially, all learners, their cognition, their style of learning, their style of understanding is different. Okay. So whenever in a method, teacher's role and student's role is prescribed, their creativity, teacher's creativity, and also the learner's creativity is cut. That is the criticism against all methods and approaches. Role of contextual factors in the post-method era. These are the characteristics of post-method era. In the post-method era, they will raise some question, whether there is research-based, whether it is practical, what are the benefits. In the same way, they will be asking about the role of the teachers, and also they will, the contextual factors. That is also in post-method era. What is the context? You are applying a method, but in which context you are trying to apply that method? That is very important. You have to understand the context. What is the class size? What is the academic culture of the country? What is the education policy of that country? Okay. Economic condition as well. Okay. So the contextual factors is very crucial in post-method era. So whenever you will be applying a method, especially the post-method era, will be raising question about the context. You have to understand the context, then you have to apply a method. So contextual factors is very important. In case of CLT might be applicable for Europe, the first world country, but rather that communication process may not be applied in Bangladesh or in the developing countries. Okay, so context is very important in post-method era. The need for curriculum development processes. Curriculum development in CLT, the curriculum or the syllabus that would be different for UK, and that can also be different for a specific country, even the specific location of the country. If the country is very big, all country, India can be a big country, okay, Russia can be a big country, okay. So one principles cannot be applied the whole Russia or whole India, okay. Even the specific situation you can develop a specific curriculum, okay, in the post-method era. So in the post-method era, curriculum is also very important. The careful examination drawing on all available sources of knowledge and informed judgment of the teaching objectives. The development or trial used in school for those methods and materials, okay, after getting a curriculum, you have to trial in the school. And then the assessment of the extent to which the development work has in fact achieved its objectives. What is the objectives? You have written or you have put some course content, but with the course content, what you are supposed to teach the students? Do you want to teach speaking? Do you want to teach communication? Do you want to teach research? So whether that objective is fulfilled, you have to also pilot the test or the curriculum. The final element is therefore the feedback of all the experience gained. So in the post-method era, this question will come in. Lack of research base, that I have said, that means no generic information will be applied in post-method era. You can't say that yes, it is applicable for this, so this method can be applicable for Bangladesh. No. Research is very important. You have to research, then you can prescribe. Okay, in Bangladesh, if you think that CLT or audiolingualism is perfect, then in post-method era, whether you have applied this method in any school in Bangladesh, what is the result? What is the result of your research? What is the result of your piloting? এই যে 100 জন আপনি হলো কোনো একটা বিভাগের হচ্ছে 50টা স্কুলে আপনি গবেষণা করেছেন, গবেষণা করে দেখিয়েছেন যে অডিও লিঙ্গুয়ালিজম ফলো করে তাদের ইমপ্রুভ হয়েছে, তখন কিনা আপনি বলতে পারেন যে হ্যাঁ এই অডিও লিঙ্গুয়ালিজম. সো ইন পোস্ট মেথড এরা রিসার্চ ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট রিগার্ডিং second language or foreign language teaching. Similarity of the classroom practices, okay. Another whatever may be similarity, actually in a country what happens, that is so many methods or approaches is there, but in a country according to the country's education policy, every teacher follow the same practices. Okay, we are communicative, we are following communicative language teaching, but is it the classroom is communicative? Okay, no communication is there. We have classes 1 hour earlier, but I am telling, I mean you are receiving the thing. Okay, one-sided teaching. Okay, okay, a little bit improved. That means previously there was no presentation. Presentation is included. So within the framework, what is available, that is done. Okay, so our classroom size is very big, so introduction will not be possible. So presentation will be a criteria of achieving that objectives. In case of presentation, at least you will be the teachers of 5 to 7 minutes or 10 minutes. You have to present the session. So in one course you will have 5 to 10 minutes. Then in 5 courses you will have 50 minutes actual presentation. And the teachers, that is very good, but those who are not those who haven't have the practice of speaking before the audience, this presentation will enrich your communicative performance. Okay, so similarities of the classroom practices beyond approaches and methods. Okay, so what alternative approaches to the study of teaching are available outside the framework of brand name approaches and methods? That I have said initially at the very stage. What would be the future of English after 100 years? এখন এটা কত সাল? 2025 সাল. 3025 সালে ইংরেজি ভাষার চরিত্র কিরকম হবে কল্পনা করি। সেরকম এই পোস্ট মেথড ইরা সেটা বলছে যে এই মেথড এবং অ্যাপ্রোচের বাইরে অল্টারনেটিভটা কি, অল্টারনেটিভটা কি, মেথড এবং অ্যাপ্রোচের বাইরে অল্টারনেটিভটা কি? We believe that because approaches and method have played a central role in the development of our profession, it will continue to be useful for teachers, students, teachers to become familiar with the major teaching approaches, methods proposed for second and foreign language teaching. Mainstream approaches and methods draw on a large amount of collective experience and practice from which much can be learned. Approaches and method can therefore be usefully studied and selectively mastered in order. So what would be the approach? So the scenario of approaches and methods is to learn how to use different approaches and methods and understand when they might be useful. Okay, that means in future it would be the scenario the learner will learn which method is useful for them and when to use which method, কখন কোন মেথড ব্যবহার করতে হবে। Yeah, to understand some of the issues and controversies that characterize the history of language teaching, to participate in language learning experience, to be aware of the rich set of activity resources available, to appreciate how theory and practice can be linked. You know the theory, but how can be linked to the practice? That is called praxis. Theory, if theory and practice combines together, you know many theories. আমি জানি যে শুনলে ইংরেজি বলাটা ভালো হবে, এই থিওরিটা থিওরির মধ্যে আছে, কিন্তু কখনোই আমি শুনিয়ে দেখি নাই, আমি কখনোই টানা একটা ইংরেজি মুভি আমি দেখি নাই, শুনি নাই। তার মানে কি, আমরা থিওরিটাই শুধু জানি, এটা প্র্যাকটিস করি না। However, teachers in training need to be able to use approaches and method flexibly and creatively. Teacher, they will not be fixed to a fixed method. কোনো একটা মেথডের উপরে তারা একদম কনফাইন্ড থাকবে না। They would be flexible and creative. যখন যেটা প্রয়োজন হয় তখন সেটা অ্যাপ্লাই করবে। Training in techniques and procedures, and also the teacher's training will be there. Okay, that would be necessary in case of post method era. Teacher's training will be there, and because কততে দেব? হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে। Okay, thank you. So that is the situation in case of second language teaching. It should be seen only as that as the teacher gains experience and knowledge, he or she will begin to develop an individual approach and personal method of teaching all through the process. And if the teacher gets training, then they will develop a method that is applicable for his or her students. And that is called eclectic approach. What is applicable? যদি স্টুডেন্টরা দেখে যে খুব শাই ফিল করছে, তাহলে এমন কিছু পদ্ধতি অবলম্বন করা যেটা ওই স্টুডেন্টদের জন্য ভালো হবে, দ্যাট ইজ কল্ড ইক্লেকটিক অ্যাপ্রোচ। এবং টিচার কোনো একটা নির্দিষ্ট মেথডে বন্দি না থেকে নিজের মতো করে মেথড ডেভেলপ করা। In developing a personal approach to teaching, a primary reference point for the teacher is his or her personal belief principles with regard to the following. In case of applying an approach according to teacher's wish, what would be his or her role in the classroom, the nature of effective teaching and learning, the difficulties learner face and how this can be addressed. Okay, what would be the problem the teacher learner will face, the successful learning activities, the structure of an effective lesson. Okay, beliefs, theories about these aspects of teaching results. So this would be the aspects. Okay, and teacher will also try to, in post method era, the teacher's role will be there, engage all learners in the lesson. Engage all learners in the lesson. Then what should be done? Okay, classroom size should be less, and within the time frame every student should take part in the class activities. It may be presentation, it may be dialogues, it may be question answer session. Okay, everyone has to answer a question. Previously, I would say that is in case of presentation, বলে দিতাম যে ওনার প্রেজেন্টেশনের পরে আপনি একটা প্রশ্ন করবেন, ঠিক আছে? তখন ও নড়ে চড়ে বসতো যে আমাকে একটা কি করতে হবে, প্রেজেন্টেশন, তখন সে মনোযোগ দিয়ে সেটা শুনতো, ঠিক আছে? তবে এটা কিছুদিন ফলো করার পরে স্টুডেন্টরা আবার জেনে গেল, ঠিক আছে? এখন ওর প্রেজেন্টেশনের জন্য কে প্রশ্ন করবে তাকে বলে যে তুমি এই প্রশ্নটা করো। তো এই জন্য observing the situation, teacher will try to engage all learners, make learners not the teacher and the focus of the lesson, provide maximum opportunities for the students participation, develop learner responsibility, be tolerant of learners mistakes, okay, be tolerant of learners mistake, okay. Naturally the punishment once upon a time, okay, if a student would make mistake, they would go for the punishment, but in case of the post-merit era, the teacher should be tolerant of the learner's mistakes. It is very common that learner will make mistake, okay, and so that the student will have that criteria that yes, this is very common that I may make mistake. এটা হতেই পারে আমার mistakes, okay, but understanding that যে আমি মিস্টেক করতে পারি, যখন আমি মিস্টেক করতে পারি এটা যদি ধরে নেওয়া হয়, তখন স্টুডেন্টরাই কি করবে, সেই মিস্টেকটাকে না করার চেষ্টা করবে। Develops learners confidence, you can do, so teach learning strategies, respond to learners difficulties, build on them, use a maximum amount of student to student activities, promote cooperation among learners, practice both accuracy and fluency, speed and perfection. In UK perspectives, 3W is very important, and also the important is speed and perfection. You have to do it, okay? So which one first? Speed or perfection? Which one first? According to my opinion, make it perfect, speed will come naturally. Make it perfect first, then the speed will come naturally. So speed and perfection. In post-method era, accuracy is important and also fluency is important. So you can't discard one. So many things will be addressed in the post-method era. And address learners' need and interest. What they are in need. তাদের কোনটা দরকার? কেউ ভালো লিখতে পারে না, বলতে পারে না, তাদের বলাটাকে। এবং আগের ব্যাচের একটা স্টুডেন্ট এমনিতে মিডে 6.5 পাই, কিন্তু প্রেজেন্টেশনে 10-এর মধ্যে 8.5 পেয়ে গেল। কারণ কি? তার মানে তার স্পিকিংটা ভালো, ওকে। তাহলে অন্যদের যাদের স্পিকিং ভালো না, লেখাই ভালো, যারা 8 পেয়েছে বা 7 পেয়েছে লিখিত পরীক্ষায়, তাদের জন্য টিচার তাদের স্পিকিংটাকে বাড়ানোর জন্য, সেটা তাদের নিড, এটা এবং নিডের পাশাপাশি তাদের ইন্টারেস্টটাও দেখতে হবে। Interest, that means ও পড়ছি একটা সার্টিফিকেট, if I get a certificate I will get a good job, I will get a good marriage or something else. So interest should be there, motivation should be there, okay. And actually motivation comes from your interest. কেন হবে না? Make a schedule. This is the achievement, okay. পড়তে হয় তাই পড়া, বাবা চাই যে আমি এখানে একটা মাস্টার্স করি, এই জন্য ভর্তি হয়েছি, এরকম না, ওকে। যেহেতু ভর্তি হয়েছেন, ওকে, দ্যাট মিনস দ্য মোস্ট ইম্পর্টেন্ট অ্যাসেট you are employing over here, that is your time. One day is passed from your life, that is lost, okay. Try to use the every moment of your life. জাফর স্যার আবার বলতো যে আপনি তো দেরি করেন, আপনি আবার এদের মধ্যে জ্ঞান দেন ছাত্রদের। হ্যাঁ, আমি দেরি করি, বাট ট্রাই টু, one day you will try to utilize the every moment. হয়তো আপনি 1 মাসে পাচ্ছেন, হয়তো বা 6 মাসে দেখবেন যে ঠিকই আপনি একটা শিডিউল করে দিচ্ছেন, and that will come from your interest. If you are interested, yes, and confidence, interest and confidence will go together. If you are interested, then confidence will come. Why not I will be able to do that. কেন আমি পারবো না, ওকে, এটা যদি থাকে। সো ইন পোস্ট মেথড এরা teachers will do and the learners will do according to this criteria. They will try to things many aspects. Looking forward, so in post-method era, English language teaching will be, what would be the future perspectives of English language teaching? The post-method era will also raise question, and for this reason, government policy directives for English language teaching, government's policy is very important. How and what would be the education policy of a country? That is very important in post-method era. Trends in the profession. Once upon a time, okay, BBA had in Bangladesh, BBA had a trend. Many students in Jagannath University, 60,000 students applied for BBA, only for 756. Okay, but at present, it has been 26,000, because at that moment that was a trend. But at present, the students are moving forward for the science once again. Science for which subject? Not physics, chemistry, applied physics, applied chemistry, okay, pharmacy. These are the things. So observe the trend in the post-method era. What the learners want? What is the trend in profession? Okay, teaching trend is not in profession. Now students want to be entrepreneur. They want to be start a business. It may be online business or it may be AI business. Okay, so trend in profession. In post-method era, government and the teachers and the learners, they will observe the trend in profession. What would be the requirements? Okay. Starlink Malik ke? Elon Musk বলতে সার্টিফিকেট দরকার নাই, come up with your skill, I will give you the job. That is the trend in profession. Yeah, and also exactly that. What I am delivering, everything you will get simply if you write in ZPD, ChatGPT. And for this reason, you have to think that where you will go after 50 years might not be there with no teaching profession. You are spending your time and getting my lectures. In some days that will come, that lectures will be available everywhere. Just you will be putting in AI. So the student is so you have to, in post-method era, you have to observe the trend in profession. And also the grow-led innovation. Grow-led innovation. Innovation will be there. Actually, আমরা বললাম যে মেথড এন্ড অ্যাপ্রোচের মৃত্যু ঘটেছে কিছু কিছু জায়গা ছাড়া। কারা কারা? যেমন হলো স্টিফেন ডি ক্রাশনস, I love him, and I had also wrote Stephen D. Carson's educationist, American educationist. Still, you will excuse me, Stephen D. Carson's. If you put in YouTube Stephen D. Carson's, many lectures will be there. He said that all the people of this world eat food in the same way, digest food in the same way, so they learn language in the same way. What is the same way? Yes, that is Carson's observation. Yeah. And also Great and Go, Lojanov আমরা কথা বলেছি যে attitude is important. Okay, language learning is a matter of attitude, not aptitude. Ability দরকার নাই, কি attitude, আপনার attitude-টা কি? Okay, so grow-led innovation. So in post-method era, some research in language teaching is done by some researchers. That means who are the researchers? Get and Go, Lojanov and Carson's. They are initiating this innovation in English language. Response to technology, that I have said a little bit earlier. English language teaching with AI. What is your perspectives? আপনি ইমেল লিখবেন, কি টপিকে লিখবেন, শুধু লেখেন, they will get you the information. It is not necessary. Grammarly will correct the grammar. Okay. Paraphrasing tool will paraphrase. Okay. So you have to be conscious in post-method era about response to technology. টেকনোলজি বলতে আমরা তো বুঝাই যে প্রজেক্টরের মধ্যে ক্লাস নেওয়ানো and nowadays the technology has been much advanced. So in post-method era, response to technology influences from the academic disciplines and also research influences. Learner-based innovations will be there. Learner-based innovations will be there, okay, and also crossover educational trends, crossover from other disciplines, okay. So having all this, the post-method era will come forward, okay. So post-method era started after 1990 decades and it raises question about the existing methods and approach in English language teaching. And having so many questions in English language or foreign language teaching, post-method era will focus these key points, that is government policy, trend in professions, grew-led innovations, response to technology, influences of academic discipline, research influence and learner-based innovations. With this, the post-method era will usher creativeness, flexibility, contextual performance. And in this regard, Kumara Velu has come up with the idea of 3P. 3P, practicality, possibility and possibility, practicality and no, another P. No. Practicality, possibility and another P, that is okay, that will come. So practicality, possibility and another P of probability. Yes, this 3P. So in post-method era that will come. So whenever you will be coming this context, you have to observe the context, you have to observe the benefits, you have to observe the some other things in English language teaching. And in this regard, whole language learning, that is also an approach. Neuro-language programming, that is a neuro-linguistics. What is the neuro-linguistics? There is a subject of psycholinguistics. What is the difference between psycholinguistics and neuro-linguistics? Psycholinguistics discuss the how language works in mind, and neuro-linguistics how language works in brain. Okay, that is the difference between psycholinguistics and neuro-linguistics. There is another approach, silent way. Yeah, there is another approach, that is the silent way in post-method era. What is the silent way? The teacher, as much as he will remain silent, he or she, the students will be there, silent will be there, okay. And apart from all this, we have said that Kumara Velu is P. So context is important, students and teachers engagement will be important, and teachers and students creativity is important is post-method era. And also whatever you will see in the post-method era, that should come through research, not a generative idea or generic idea. Okay. So thank you very much. And any questions?